Hello, everybody. Welcome back to New York Talk. This is the Scout Report. It's time to look ahead again as we host Leyton Orient on Tuesday night. We have Steve from the Orient Outlook to join us today to tell us all things Leyton Orient. How are you doing, Steve?
All good, Matt. All good. Thank you for having us back on the podcast. Be better if we weren't conceding 94th and 97th minute goals from corners to lose a game that we were winning. But you can't have them all, I guess, Matt.
Exactly. That's where. Let's go back a little bit because we were talking about before we recorded when we played you back in whenever it was October. You were sitting just outside the relegation zone. I think you hadn't won at home all season up to that point, and then it was like we mentioned, it was a very, very poor game, but which you probably earned the result, and it's been all uphill since then. Just tell everybody who isn't kind of familiar how things have turned around since then.
Yeah, well, we obviously played you, and I think there were two teams low on confidence. We were, I think, 20th in the table. We were finding it hard to get wins. I think we struggled to get that win, but we just about got over the line. And then for about next month or so, bit topsy-turvy. And then we had Oldham in the second round of the FA Cup at home, and we were 1-0 down into the 91st minute. And you might have seen this, you might have not. Our goalkeeper basically scored with a header, the last kind of kick of the normal time to get us 1-1. And then we went on to win that game 2-1. And that was kind of like the turning point of the season. I mean, up to that point, we were looking at going out the cup to a National League team, and we were in the relegation places. I mean, had we lost that game, I think things may have gone very differently. However, we won that. We kicked on from there and then went on an incredible run in December. We played 7 in December, 1-6, drew 1, didn't concede a goal. Beat some awfully big teams in the league in December. Richie got manager of the month for December in League 2. We got a nice plump cup draw at home to Man City, which we're all excited about. Went into January thinking we'll fade at some point, and then had another spectacular month in January. Richie again won manager of the month. We climbed into the playoff places. We gave Man City a hell of a game at Brisbane Road on BBC One. Jamie Donnelly scored one of the most memorable goals at Brisbane Road that I think we've ever seen, where he lobbed the goalkeeper from about 55, 60 yards, which is his goal, by the way. We're counting that as his goal, even though it came off the goalkeeper. And we had a real upsurge in form, which has been kind of hit a little bit by the kind of this tough fixture period where we find ourselves. We went to Wrexham. We had 4 really tough games in the space of like 10 days. Away to Wrexham, away to Bolton, away to Birmingham, and at home to Charlton. Teams all up and around the playoffs. Really going to be difficult. Started off at Wrexham. We won that amazingly. Won a goal down, but turned it around, won there 2-1. And we were really happy and confident going into that one. Then we had Bolton away, which felt like a big game. We were level on points with Bolton. And Bolton, you always know we're going to get a Bolton. A really tough fixture. Crowd well behind their team. Went 1-0 up at half-time. And unfortunately, a few kind of uncharacteristic errors, I would say, in our defence led to a 2-1 defeat at Bolton. Although, to be fair, we've got a bit of a crisis at centre-back. And in that game, we only had one centre-back in the second half where we conceded 2 goals. Lost that one. Then went away to Birmingham City last Tuesday. All going all right for the first 12 minutes. And then we got a man sent off, which... I don't want to say Birmingham City get to refs, the size of the stadium, the players, their manager in particular, but it definitely turned the ref's head, had a sending off, lost that game 2-0 that we kind of looked at as a bit of a free hit, really. I mean, Birmingham, I think now unbeaten in 17, 18. I mean, no one's really, they're gone as far as I'm concerned, Birmingham, really, to be fair. And then Charlton yesterday, big game, level on points with them. We were 6th, they were 7th, all to play for. And again, tight game, got the goal, thought we'd seen it out, but we conceded 2 late goals and find ourselves now in 8th place. So, as you said, Matt, when we last spoke in October, we'd be 8th and just outside the playoff places. I would have bitten your hand off for it. But given the fact where we were, and we've lost 3 out of our last 4 against teams around us, I think at the moment it's quite downbeat. Orient with 3 in the last 4, especially when you lose a game or lose a lead and then lose a game in kind of the last couple of minutes, it can really kind of hit you. So happy and elated that, we're still in it with 12 games to go. Never thought that would be the case, but slightly disappointed not actually to be in the top 6 at the moment.
No, absolutely. But it's a really good fight up there. You got Huddersfield 58 points, Charlton 56, those are the 5th and 6th. Bolton on 7th on 54. Then there's you and Reading both on 53. Barnsley on 52. It's a really, really close fight. How are you you're really positive that you think if you can kind of get back to that, the performances, even from Charlton from part of the game, but are you confident that you can make it? Because there's some big teams with big budgets in there, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, all the teams you just mentioned, Matt, all ex-Premier League teams for the most part. And we're Leyton Orient, who have never been higher in the Championship since 1970. So it's difficult, but we've got a great manager in Richie Wellens. I think we've sung the praises off a lot on our podcast and on the other podcasts we do. We've made some good signings. We've got a good young team coming through. I think the thing we've got kind of an advantage is that I think we've played everyone now. I think barring Barnsley and Wickham, we've played Birmingham twice, we played Bolton twice, we played Charlton twice now. We've played the teams, we played Reading twice, we played the teams around us more often than not. I think a lot of those teams have still got to play each other and take points off of one another. Where, you look this week, Rotherham away, Northampton at home, you'd be hoping for 4 out of 6 from them, maybe even 6. I think Rotherham, looking at League One, I think Rotherham are the only team I think we've underperformed so far this season. Not to kind of take anything away from Rotherham are, but
I agree.
I think I had Rotherham down a second in my predictions. Everyone else is kind of coming where I thought they'd be at this point of the season. I think Rotherham, I think it'd be easy to be fooled by Rotherham's league position. I think it's going to be a very tough game for us on Tuesday. I think once we get past Tuesday, we're going to start having kind of Northampton, I think Mansfield, Burton, like the teams where you would go and expect to win potentially. I think that's probably in our favour. Whereas I think a lot of the teams around us have still got to play each other. So, yeah, happy with it. Can we still give it a shot? Yeah, I mean, we've had some horrendous injuries this season. At the moment, we've only got 2 fit centre-backs. We've got our left-back suspended, who will be suspended for our game on Tuesday because he got sent off against Birmingham. So it's been tough to not have everyone, but I think that shows the depth of the squad we have at the moment, where we've recruited well. Richie's very good on rotating the team, which he has done. I think there are a few surprises on Saturday with the lineup he went for. He left a few big hitters on the bench. I think he was thinking about Rotherham on Tuesday, and he kind of maybe at the detriment of Saturday's lineup. So good squad, optimistic. I'm optimistic we'll take it to the last 2 or 3 games, and then from there anything can happen. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. What will we see different? Like you mentioned, when we played in October, both teams were on the floor in terms of confidence. What will we see? What will be the difference from you guys then to kind of now in terms of your setup and anything else?
I think you'll see a much more patient and confident Orient team this time out. I think last time, I think it's a bit of hoofball. I think it's a very physical game. I think now, the players have all got better relationships with one another. I think confidence is still very high within the squad. I think you'll see a better Orient team, a better footballing Orient team. I think you'll see a better attack from the O's. I imagine Dan Adji, who's kind of returned from injury and has been used sparingly, I think he'll start on Tuesday. Charlie Kelman, who I think in October was kind of finding his feet again in League One with us, is now a brilliant League One striker. He's got 15 goals for the season. Very good. Doesn't need many chances. We've got Azim Abdullahi, who we didn't have back in October. We got him from Swansea in January. I imagine he might start as well. Jamie Donnelly as well from Tottenham, who scored that goal against Man City in October. Again, still finding his feet. Has really kind of come to prominence in the last 2 or 3 months. I think it's better individual performances from us on Tuesday, a better team, one to be harder to break down, and one hopefully with more confidence than what we saw in October.
Fair enough. I might have imagined this, but am I right in saying that Richie Wellens and Steve Evans have got beef and history from his Evans and Stevenage days, or have I imagined that?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, Steve Evans has got history with Orient from his Rotherham, from the original, as you know, in that playoff final. But I mean, I was talking about that goal the other day. We were talking about Alex Ravel yesterday, and we were saying, I can't believe he celebrated against his former club. And I was like, mate, if you scored a 40-yarder on the volley in the playoff final against your foot, I was like, I'd still be running around with my shirt off if that was me. So I guess it all stemmed from there. And then with Stevenage coming up with Orient at the same time with Richie, they've mocked each other a little bit at their relevant grounds. When we won League Two, Evans really... we got defeated away at Stevenage 3-0, and Evans acted again like he'd won the Champions League, which he didn't like that. There's a bit of history there between the two of them. I think there'll be a mutual respect there between the two of them. I think, we don't like playing Steve Evans teams because Steve Evans has got a habit of beating Leyton Orient. You know, that's why we don't like him. He's got a habit of getting results against us, which I think is a testament to him. So a little bit of beef there. I mean, Richie seems to pick up a lot of bookings, right? So I imagine it'd be quite a fiery touchline. I imagine if there's a few heated decisions going on, I think both managers will be having their say in the fourth official's ear. It could be quite interesting. Could be one to watch potentially on Tuesday. Yeah,
absolutely. So let's finish on how do you think the game's going to play out? How do you think the game's going to play out, and what is your score prediction for Tuesday evening?
I think both teams will score on Tuesday. I think we've started conceding goals that we weren't conceding a couple of weeks back due to kind of the injury hit defence. I think we'll concede. I think we'll score as well though. I'm gonna go for I'll go for a 1-1 draw. I think I'd take a 1-1 draw at this moment in time because I think it's a difficult away fixture. So yeah, I think 1-1 on Tuesday.
Okay, will be interesting. I'm sure it'll be a much better game than it was back in October. I don't think it can be much worse because that was
can't be worse back, can it? Yeah,
exactly. Thank you very much, Steve. Make sure you check out Orient out. We'll put the links in the show notes as well, so check below if you want to see those guys. We will see everybody next time. Thank you all for being with us, and as always, up the Millers.